Hi, everybody. We are getting ready to really dive into our unit on geometry, and we'll be working with some of these very familiar shapes, triangles, rectangles, trapezoids, and many more. All of these shapes are in the category of polygons. Poly meaning many. You can think of these as many-sided shapes made from straight lines, right? A circle would not be a polygon because it's not made of straight lines. So when we are thinking about these shapes, we will think about lines, and we go ahead and indicate lines by drawing a little arrow there, and that arrow really is trying to represent that they go on forever, right? But when two lines intersect, something special happens. They create an angle, and I'll just look at this one. I see many angles that are created, but let's focus in on this one right here. They create an angle, and this one looks a little bit bigger than 90. 90 would be straight up and down like that, like a square. So this is an obtuse angle. But the two line segments, lines come together and create an angle. And if another line was intersecting with these, we would be creating more angles, and I would make a closed shape, wouldn't I? And this, what shape have I just made? A triangle. And these are created by line segments. So when I'm thinking about my triangle, I'm not considering the lines that are continuing out in all the different directions. I'm just thinking about the shape that I've created with the line segments. Line segment, or the word segment, just means part of something. Like a segment of an orange is not the whole thing, it's one of those little pieces. So line segments make up our shapes. And they're indicated, you indicate a line segment with these little dots or balls or whatever on the end to show there's a beginning and an end, where a plain old line we indicate with arrows showing that they go on for on and on and on. But when lines come together, they create angles, and the line segments eventually will create a shape. Now, it's good to be able to recognize the different sides. We're going to want some way to identify them. For instance, sometimes in class I ask a student to put an X on the line that I would like them to, on one of these lines that I'm thinking of. Well, that's hard to do. But if we name the areas where the line segments come together, or they intersect and form an angle, if we name those or indicate them with a letter, and they really can be any letter, this is point A, point B, point C, then I can identify them much more easily. Now, if I asked a student, can you put an X on line segment BC? They have a way better chance of figuring out which one I'm talking about. The line segment BC would be right here, line segment BC. I could also call that line segment CB, couldn't I? Can you identify line segment AB? Right here. Can you identify line segment CA? Right here. How about CB? Here again, right? So what we want to know for this first lesson, polygons are shapes made up of straight sides. They're made up because lines are intersecting and creating angles. And when there's enough of them, you have a closed shape, which is called a polygon. You'll want to know that lines are indicated with these little balls on either end, and line segments are indicated that way. And lines have the arrows, which is trying to show that they go on forever and ever. So think about that. When you look at a shape, try to imagine, even if they don't have these, think about the line segments that created that shape. And remember, this line actually went on and on, right? And this line went on and on. All of them did. But we focused in on the shape created when the lines intersected, right? And we'll do a lot of naming of the points, right? And you can name it anything you want. D, X, P, R, doesn't matter, because now you can identify line segment DX, right? Be right here. Okay, that's our beginning lesson on polygons.